Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. It is Thursday the 18th of July and today we'll start with Nvidia. Well, I could have started with more or less any semiconductor that was hammered last night, but Nvidia is interesting because it's the biggest one and the most traded one. So here we have Nvidia that closed bang on, or just a few cents above the key support at 118. And we also have some support, a little bit of support, 115.80, but 118. A close below could trigger another round of selling down to 106 and 101 area. It is not confirmed yet, but if it does close below then the 118, well, then we also have a confirmed downtrend with lower low, lower high, and lower low. We have this bearish engulfing still in play, top reversal pattern, and another one here that following through. So the pressure is to the downside. So it looks fairly heavy for Nvidia to say the least. On the overall market, we saw just very quickly, we saw Dow Jones new all-time highs. For what, fifth day in a row, primarily led by again banks and also Johnson & Johnson up 4%. We have on the other hand we have S&P 500 that was down 1.4%, just above support at 55.76 and the lower rising trend line right there. Keep an eye on that one, but there is divergence here on the other side. You can see this. These values here are declining where the market went higher. So we could see a pressure, but I think we'll see a little bit of a bounce today if no news is being received badly from the market. Nasdaq 100 below the low rising trend line. There is a strong support in this area where we have this gap area, 19,347, 19,210. Divergence on the RSI has been warning about this, and we have this top reversal pattern with gap lower. It really needs to close this gap here and move back above the rising trend line to have any meaningful chance of getting higher. But for now, I think also here we can see that currently the future is up about 0.5%, but let's see when we get closer. There are no big earnings news expected, so it could be maybe a fairly quiet day, but let's see. The EUROSTOXX 50 closed more or less bang on 48.88. So and we are up about 0.5%, so a little bit of a bounce, but I think we could see another pressure here in the coming days. The DAX index that couldn't hold on above 18,630. Well, it is. I mean, you can see it's slightly rising trend here, but it's not that strong. But if it can get back above again 18,630, maybe it can get its mojo back and push higher towards previous peak. But it will be a struggle. Amsterdam index AX, that was of course being weighed down by the ASML hammering. There's a separate report out last night, so please check that one out on ASML. But maybe we should just have a very quick look here. Just a very quick look while we are at it. ASML, as you can see, touched 864.5 support level around here and closed just above, but we have the RSI negative territory, massive sell-off, and we are in a bearish trend with lower lows and lower highs. So the RBGs need a new lower high. So I think we'll see a little bit of a bounce in today's session. I believe it's up a few percent here already. We have again AX Amsterdam closed below 918 and just below the 55 moving average. If it can close back above today, well, then it has been thrown a lifeline. Also RSI still above 40, but to resume uptrend 930, it needs to close above that. CAC 40, not much to say, just trading in this big range here. So let's move on to Swiss market. Swiss market had a good day today and is opening higher. Yesterday, sorry, and is opening higher this morning. So and there's a lot of banks there. Ross was strong after earnings, and Novartis also earnings out. So maybe that is helping the market a little bit. On the FX market, euro dollar broke above 109.16 resistance, not the strongest one, but as you can see here, the other day got rejected there, so it is semi-strong, I would say. In a bullish trend, no divergence on the RSI, potential up to 109.80, around that level. I think we'll see in the coming days. Euro sterling is still hovering around the 84, bouncing a little bit after dipping below, but the trend is clear. We are in a downtrend, but we could see a further bounce up towards the 84.25 around that level. Cable, if my chart will update, there we are. Above 130, reached the 176 projection at 130.50. There's room up to 131, 135 resistance area that comes back. You know, it's really far back. So, but there's room up to that level. Whether we'll get there is debatable, but the RSI is pointing in that direction. Yen pairs are bouncing a little bit, or they dipped lower this morning, then bouncing, and we have dollar yen now trading in at the 786 retracement or 156.13. Will it close below the cloud and push lower to the 154.5 level, or can we get a little bit of a bounce here? We now have a negative sentiment on the RSI, so the pressure is to the downside on dollar yen. Euro yen also trading around the 61.8 retracement and support at 170.5, 170.60 around this level. RSI is still above 40, so it has a chance to bounce back, and if it does, can close above these levels here, well, maybe you can see a little bit of a bounce, but lower low, lower high, lower low for now. We are in a bearish correction phase. Aussie yen also dipped actually below the 61 retracement and just dipped below the 104.86 support, almost down to 786 retracement. We are, well, it's debatable if we actually be below 40 on the threshold here on RSI or not. I think we will see a little bit of a bounce towards 106 here today, but the pressure is to the downside. But I think we'll see a little bit of a bounce. We have sterling yen that only retraced half of this 50% of this uptrend here at 202.68, dipping a little bit below. Still downside pressure, could dip to 201.38, which is the 61.8, and that will be a normal correction. And also with the moves we see in sterling at the moment, it is not unlikely to dip down to that level. RSI is still in a positive sentiment, however. Aussie dollar bouncing this morning, and I think it will continue to bounce. Our RSI is telling us we are likely to see higher levels on Aussie dollar, so bouncing from the 38.2 retracement at 61.13, and I think we in the coming weeks, it will take some time. In coming weeks, we will see higher levels on Aussie dollar. However, if it does take out lows today, we see twice it actually tested that. Well, then we could see a sell-off down to the 61.8 at a 66.60. Dollar Canada, not much to say. It's been fairly boring lately. Still in this wide range, and until I get a break out of that, then I won't say anything intelligent about it. Euro Swiss sell off massive yesterday, down to the 38.2 retracement, the old one there, and we can then add a new one from here to there, and we can see that it is also around the 38.2 at 19.660.61. So there's some support here. We're still in a positive sentiment on the RSI, so we should bounce back higher. But as we can see, we also have the 55 moving average coming down. So there's the technical picture is not clear, and we really need to get above 97.75 for uptrend potential uptrend to resume. Dollar Swiss hammered down yesterday to key support at 88.25. I think we'll see a little bit of bounce, but the overall picture is the pressure is to the downside. It closed below, well, but then we could see it dropping to 87.5, 87.30 level. And the dollar index, yeah, when we talked yesterday morning, we were already below 103.68. There is some there's now downside potential to these levels down here. That can be a little bit hard to say, okay, where will we actually end, but around 102.90, 102.71. Moving on to commodities and precious metals. Here we have gold. Almost tested the 2450 from the upper side, now taking off again this morning, and there's still room up to 2512, which is the 138.2 projection derived from this range here, and projected up. We have the descending triangle-like pattern here, and that gives potential up to 2512, but I think we could actually get up to around 2550. So that's going to be interesting in the next couple of days. There's a strong positive sentiment. Silver, on the other hand, got sold off yesterday down to the 38.2 retracement at just above $30. I think it hit just $30 and a change, and trying to get higher, but it needs to take out 31.75 to really get upside traction. Platinum, well, it's still 10.15. It needs to close above that for upside potential. Copper, on the other hand, fairly heavy, and has found some support at 786 retracement at 440, and the 100 moving average. And I think we will see a bounce here the next couple of days. But if it takes out 432, well, then we are looking at levels around 424, 410 down here. For really establishing a bullish trend, 417 really needs to close above that one. On the WTI crude oil, that bounced off $30 yesterday, just above the 38.2 retracement, and now we could see a test of the 84.46 or 84.52 previous peak there in fairly shortly, and with the RSI being showing positive sentiment, well, I think it will break it, and then we have potential up to around 87.5. Brent crude oil, as usual, lacking a little bit, but it also bounced off the 38.2 retracement and the 100 moving average. The 200 moving average, and it's pushing higher, and I think it could push towards 87, 88 here in coming days. On the US Treasuries, we will look at the 10-year and the 2-year. First, the 10-year, then actually closed below, for second day in a row, below 417 support. Trying to get back above, but I'm not sure it will do that. We are to the heavy side towards 4%. On the other hand, we have the 2-year that actually dropped to a 437 support, 437, 435, and bouncing a little bit. If it takes out that 435, well, then we are looking at lower levels below 430. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day, and have a trading.